This is an Axiom Roadrunner bicycle fender mounted here on my 2016 Norco Threshold aluminum bicycle. I've been using the front and rear, of course, as a set for the last 2050 kilometers of commuting, and this video is my review about how the set of fenders have been working for me. So let's start with the conditions a little bit. I use them for commuting, city commuting in the Pacific Northwest. The Pacific Northwest is in North America on the Pacific coast around the 49th parallel between Canada and the United States. So that's the Pacific Northwest, and it is a temperate climate rainforest here. By rainforest, and I didn't invent this term, I mean, for those of you who like numbers, we have about 1200 millimeters of rain come down in a year. That's 48 inches. That's at sea level. In the mountains you can double or triple that, or moving further west towards the Olympic Peninsula or on the islands. And here these fenders are an absolute must-have. Further inland, elsewhere in North America, maybe you have 600 millimeters for the year, so half of what falls here, or even less. So 1200 millimeters is a lot, and when it rains you do get wet no matter what. Rain's coming down from above, it's pretty clean, very nice, refreshing, and then there is the super annoying wheel wash or spray that comes from the wheels of trucks and trailers, especially those are bad, or lorries, depending on, semis, depending on where you are. And you also have the water that your own tires pick up and would spray back on you. Well, I'm happy to tell you, these fenders do an amazing job of keeping me dry from the muck that can be picked up from the road. Now, this 1200 millimeters of rain, and I think between October and April I see 2/3 of it come down typically. That this amount of rain would wash the roads clean, but that is the case when there are no trucks. But with truck traffic, trucks hauling dirt, sand, or just fill material do get on dirt roads, and those get on the tires and gets on the roads, and so the truck routes that I use are dirty, and so these fenders keep me clean from whatever they pick up from the road. They don't spray it back on my glasses or helmet or face or my front of my jacket, whatever. They do a fantastic job for keeping me clean from the muck that's down on the road. With that said, I'm just gonna move you further back. I want to talk about the wrap angle a little bit, and by wrap angle I mean this angle here that this fender makes and wraps about a quarter of the wheel. So if this one is like 12 o'clock position, it's a little past 3 o'clock position there, so this would be 90 degrees there, so this is 95 or 100 degrees. The fender keeps me dry, but I think it still should be longer, and this is what I mean by longer this way, with another 5 degrees or whatever. So another 2 inches here would be nice, or maybe 3. So I know, and I'm going to explain why, but I know Axiom makes a fender to fit to all kinds of different purposes, and after all, this is a cyclocross frame where people clear obstacles with this, so any mudguard or flappy end of this fender sticking out would be interfering with clearing the obstacles, gets hung up and gets torn, whatever. But that's one thing if people want to cut it shorter and shorten this mudguard flappy end on it to suit their purpose, but once it's cut to a length I can't stretch it to make it longer. No big deal, I'm gonna drill 2 or 3 small holes and tie wire something, join something on it that's a little longer, and this is why I need this to be a little longer. I look at the contact patch here at the front wheel, and so this contact patch is where the bicycle makes contact with the road. This is where the tread wear on it, or the tread on it gets saturated with sand on the road. Now, mud is sandy and sand has quartz in it. Quartz is an abrasive particle, so this is what happens to quartz. It gets ejected in a straight line here, and if you follow this straight line from the last point here on the ground of the contact patch, particles that get lifted and they don't hit the mudguard here, or this flappy end here on the fender, they get passed by it and they fly in that general direction and they hit the fender in a straight line there. And that's exactly where I get some crud and mud deposited on the frame. Now, this stream of slurry, muddy slurry that does get dry there, it's not strong enough, despite the abrasive particles, to power wash or sandblast the paint off the frame there, although eventually I will get some of it thinned out and removed. That little deposit is not a problem, but depending on steering angle input, this jet, which I always have on the ground because it always rains here a lot, and it's a steady rain for days and days and weeks and months, and so seriously between October and April you don't see much of the sky. So this jet hits the chain there, and the chain wheels on the crankset. So when this quartz abrasive particle jet stream hits the chain, it just saturates it. It just ruins it in no time. I have to completely clean the chain, especially if it's rainy, because this rain is not clean, that gets picked up by the wheel on these truck routes, hits the chain there, and every 250 kilometers it's crunchy. It's so bad, like audibly crunchy. So that chain of course is ruined by the end of the winter commutes. In May, June, July, August and September you have a lot less rain, so there is still rain. So so you can have intervals further apart for chain maintenance. So this fender needs to be longer in the conditions that I use it. That's my story. This is how it works with the geometry of the bike and the chain, and this is how fender causes chain deterioration, rapid. Otherwise, it's keeping my feet dry as much as my feet can be dry. So at the lowest point, if you continue this straight line. So, but I have these over the shoe little rubber or neoprene bootses, so don't worry about my feet. Those can dry, but the chain can't and won't clean itself just yet. So that's a problem. That's why this wrap angle needs to be bigger at the front, come down furthermore. The wrap angle on the back is almost 180 degrees. It starts here, that's a nice spot. To keep again the chain clean, I wouldn't mind to actually come down past this point and come down here a little bit past the chain, so the whatever hits it on the inside when it gets thrown around comes out and drips out here and kind of flies in the wind, where the chain is below that point, and it's also a little bit of a problem keeping the chain clean. I would like to have the front fender come down here just below the chain. I know it's not clearing the logs or whatever you want to climb that way, but it's a modification that I'm gonna do on it for commuting in these kind of conditions that I have here. The wrap angle around the end, it's almost 180 degree wrap angle as is, maybe a little less. I have nobody behind me, not because I go that fast, but not too many people commute here in the rain. So yes, I know I'm crazy. So I don't know how it works for what's behind me, but it's keeping this wrap angle is keeping my tail pack and this back rack, luggage rack system here. It's keeping me clean in free of mud. So it does get wet. Wet is fine. It dries nice, and it's not muddy. That's really good. So that's wrap angle 1. Wrap angle 2 is the curvature of this fender going this way. That curvature is very nice. It works with the tire, it works with the wheel. Like I said, it catches a lot of water. where its wrap angle actually is covering this way, so it keeps me dry. But I'd like to point out that right now, just come on in closer, the tire size that I have is, you can see it there on the sidewall of the tire there. It says 700 there, it's out of the shade there. So this 32mm wide tire just barely fits the mounting bracket down here, or the upper mounting bracket there. The reason for it, I'm just gonna get you another little angle there, you can see that this fender does vibrate in use sideways. It's not in any danger. It does contact the tire there, but it's for a fraction of a second. It's not an issue. The reason why it can't be further away from the tire, so that wider tires could be used with the same fender, is because of the toe strike here. The pedal, the length of the crank is such that the toe strike happens here. Given the place of clip on my cycling shoe, how they clip together and interlock with this pedal, I don't want to interfere with my own steering. This fender has to be this close to the tire. So at the moment the 28mm wide tire is all I can accommodate between these two corners of this bracket here. The fender is made of amazing material, some kind of polycarbonate or plastic or whatever. I had 2 or 3 falls in the winter. For those few days when it does freeze, just a sheet of ice, wipe out on it. It didn't break. It's working fantastically well, fairly unbreakable. The brackets are mild steel. I think they are stainless steel, and stainless steel rivets very nice. So the road salting, the occasional road salting that does happen, it's leaving it perfectly good condition. It's just shiny, just like new. And these wire stays are also stainless steel. Due to the fall, and this is the wire stay mounting system here, this is not a single piece of wire, this is 2 pieces with this plastic insert or plastic sleeve joining these 2 pieces together. This plastic is like a snap connector. So in the event you fall and there are some forces acting on this fender, ripping it away in that direction from the bicycle, this disconnects. It does, but it also chipped out, hence it's tie wired back together. This mounting system at the front, and I have a separate video about it, is a little weird in terms of geometric oddities go, because it does come, the fender does come with 4 pieces of these wires and only 2 of them are in place. The reason for it, 4 don't fit. If you double the wires here, the head of the bolt is going to hit the spokes there. So I need it, and I will change the mounting system. I'm going to use a different manufacturer's wire stay, same diameter, same weight. This is SKS wire stay, and it's already been cut to length, and it's going to go there in this general direction. Just bend it like so, and there. Place it there. Okay, so that's how it's gonna go. And that's an upgrade because the fender comes with these existing wire stays, and that cannot be improved. It needs to be replaced like so. I want a little more lateral or sideways stability again here at the corners where it's barely clearing the tire. But with that said, I really like the fenders. The actual fender material, it's really durable, it's very nice, really accommodating to the impact forces and everything. Stays black, stays unchipped and untarnished, very lightweight. I like it.